ready to make the cover sheet now for melody number 4. The cover sheet should show the scale that you have either created or selected with which to create melody number 4. Now, my composition features a chromatic scale, but it also features a certain ordering of the chromatic scale. So I'm going to show both the chromatic scale and then how I ordered the notes of the chromatic scale on my cover sheet. So I'm going to start with a new document. Apple and N will open up the wizard, and then I'm going to select empty staves, treble, and this will set up my cover sheet, melody 4. Just to call it that, and then on the subtitle write scale graph, and then make sure you have the composer labeled as you. Now, my graph will include 12 notes because it's a chromatic scale, but I'm going to have two graphs actually, the chromatic scale itself, and then I'm going to show you how I selected those tones and what order they came in. So now what I'm going to do is create a two-measure composition. This is really neat how this works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the time signature. I'm going to change the time signature to 12-1. That's right, 12-1. That will put 12 whole notes in one measure because there's 12 notes in a chromatic scale. I think that makes sense. Now I'm going to say put one measure on a line. So Shift Apple N, whoops, Shift Apple M, one measure per line. All right, now I want both systems to be equal in size. So using the page movement tool, it allows me to drag that other staff over. I'll make this bigger now. And now I'm ready to show my chromatic scale. Now, in my piece, you'll notice that I started on F sharp, and so I'm going to do that. When you're showing the chromatic scale, show the first note as the first note of your chromatic scale. And then to show a chromatic scale ascending, you know this, we use sharps. I'm just going to work quickly to see if I can't get this done so I can go back to practicing. My last note's going to be an E sharp because the next note would be an F sharp. Now, I could complete the chromatic scale with a final F sharp, and if I elected to do that, I would need to change the time signature of the piece, of the graph, so that it's 13 time. There's 13-1. Okay, that allows me to put one more note. However, that's not entirely necessary. Okay, so now I have a chromatic scale that fills out an octave. I'm going to label this as the chromatic scale. Now, I don't like that time signature. That's ugly. It's unnecessary. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, using the measure tool, I'm going to double click after selecting, and then it says here, time signature, show if needed. I'm going to show always hide. Bye-bye time signature. However, now I notice that this doesn't match this, and because the first measure is really a complete graph, I want to show that as a final double bar line. Now I'm ready to show the order of the notes as they appear in the melody. If you'll remember, the first section of the melody exhausts the chromatic scale. And so I'm going to show the notes in that order, but I'm going to try to keep it in one octave. Or okay, so here we go, starting with F sharp. My next note is C. And notice I went up to C, so I'm going to do that. Then down to E, then up to D, then down to C sharp. And in this case, I can go here. The next interval is an ascending interval to F, then a descending B flat, B natural, B flat, A, then finally way up there is A flat, G, and E flat. Now notice that there's a space. I don't like that either, and so what I'm going to do is change the time signature for this measure to 12. That will respread the notes out and eliminate that space. This is what's called an ordered pitch class series. We'll learn about those. And that's enough to say about that. So that's it. That's what I'm looking for your cover sheet. The last thing to do is maybe clean up the score and get rid of any text that Finale puts there that maybe you don't want. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for your cover sheet. Create a graph of your scale and identify the scale. If you need to use a key signature, use a key signature, and then turn in the melody for graph cover sheet and then staple to it melody number 4. And that's due at the end of the week. Good luck.